Anna stepped off the bus and looked around. Clutching her suitcase, the town of Sunnyville seemed peaceful, bathed in warm sunlight. The streets were lined with colorful houses, and flowers bloomed everywhere. People walked by, smiling and chatting with ease. Anna felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. As she took her first steps into this new place, she had dreamed of starting fresh, but the challenges ahead made her uneasy. Her English was still basic, and that worried her. She wondered if she could truly adapt to this new life. Passing by a small grocery store, she decided to step inside. Maybe exploring would help her feel more at ease. The shelves were filled with items labeled in English, and she tried to read the words. They seemed strange and unfamiliar, making her doubt herself. Despite the uneasiness, Anna reminded herself why she had come here. This was just the beginning, and she needed to be brave. Anna entered the small grocery store, her heart racing slightly. The smell of freshly baked bread filled the air, making her feel both comforted and nervous. She walked slowly down the aisles, looking at the neatly arranged products. Each label seemed like a puzzle she couldn't quite solve. She needed bread, but she didn't know how to ask for it. Her mind raced as she tried to recall the right words in English. Anna saw other customers moving with ease, picking items and chatting with the staff. She felt out of place and unsure of what to do. Her eyes searched for a loaf of bread, but she couldn't find it. The thought of asking someone for help made her even more nervous. She hesitated, standing awkwardly in the middle of the aisle. Her hands clutched the small shopping basket tightly, unsure of her next move. For a moment, she considered leaving without buying anything. But deep down, she knew she couldn't give up so easily. As Anna stood frozen in the aisle, a kind-looking woman approached her. The woman smiled warmly and said, "Can I help you?" Anna's heart skipped a beat as she struggled to respond. She finally managed to say, "I need bread." The woman nodded and pointed toward the corner of the store. "Over there, near the milk," she said gently. Relieved, Anna smiled back and thanked her. "Thank you," she said, feeling a small wave of confidence return. Walking to the bread section, she repeated the woman's words in her head. Each phrase felt like a small victory. With the bread in her basket, Anna made her way to the cashier. She managed to pay and leave the store without any trouble. Outside, she took a deep breath and smiled to herself. For the first time, she felt like she could handle this new life. Back in her small apartment, Anna sat at the table with her loaf of bread. The simple success at the store replayed in her mind. She thought about how the woman's kindness had made a big difference. Even a few words in English had been enough to help her communicate. Anna realized she didn't need to be perfect to get by. Trying her best and taking small steps was already a huge achievement. She felt a spark of hope that had been missing before. Maybe this wasn't as impossible as it had seemed. The next morning, Anna woke up feeling a little braver. She decided to explore more of Sunnyville and practice her English again. Walking down the street, she spotted a post office. She realized it was the perfect place to try asking for directions. Inside, she approached the counter and smiled nervously. "Where is the nearest park?" she asked, carefully pronouncing each word. The clerk smiled back and replied, "It's 2 blocks down to your left." Anna repeated the directions to herself, making sure she understood. As she walked to the park, she felt proud of herself. Each small conversation was helping her feel more at home. Anna spent the afternoon at the park, enjoying the fresh air and peaceful surroundings. She thought about how much she had learned. In just a short time, she remembered how scared she had been to speak at the grocery store. Now, each interaction was becoming a little easier. That evening, she decided to make a plan for learning more English. She wrote down words and phrases. She wanted to practice. She knew it would take time, but she was determined to keep improving. Sunnyville was starting to feel less intimidating and more like home. Sitting on her small balcony, Anna looked at the sunset over Sunnyville. She felt a sense of peace that she hadn't felt since arriving. She realized that every small step she took was a victory. Speaking English wasn't about being perfect. It was about trying and learning. Anna thought about the kind lady at the store and the clerk at the post office. Their patience had shown her that she didn't have to do it alone. For the first time, she believed in herself. She knew there would still be challenges, but she also knew she could face them. "This is just the beginning," she said softly to herself. With that, Anna smiled, ready for whatever tomorrow would bring.